How South Africa will look 12 years from now? Well, that's the question being asked at the launch of the Indlu-la-mithi South African Scenarios Towards 2030. The aim of the project is to frame a national conversation and answer the question on what a socially cohesive South Africa will look like 12 years from now. President Cyril Ramaphosa will deliver the keynote address at the event in Johannesburg this afternoon. The project was initiated by respected academic Professor Soma-doda Fikeni. Scenarios 2030 considers, amongst others, the economy, the world of work and society, environmental justice, reconciliation and redress, as well as crime and safety. Well, let's cross live to the Scenarios 2030 briefing to Mbali Sibanyonye. Mbali, just tell us what's happening there. What's the latest?
Well, we are in Kyalami this morning, and of course this is where South Africa Scenario 2030 is being launched today. And of course this is just projecting how the country will be like in the next 12 years. Now, of course, they have already looked at issues such as poverty, inequality, the economy, social cohesion, and just basically just rounding that up and just looking at how that will impact South Africa going forward. Now, with me is one of the head researchers, Soma-doda Fikeni, who's also a political analyst, and he'll just let us know why is it that this initiative was launched here today. Now, good afternoon, Soma-doda. We do know that this is being launched here today. Why have you focused on looking at South Africa in the next 12 years?
I do think that there has been too much focus on the here and now in our very argumentative, noisy and sometimes temperamental democracy, which is focused on headlines that keep changing every week. Facing the scale of socio-economic challenges, we needed to provide a platform for the nation to have a strategic conversation about long-term. All nations that are winning nations today have a long-term vision, a long-term plan, and they stick to it. And they mobilize the society, from government to business, from trade unions to youth, from women, and all different sectors of the civil society around a plan. So we thought that our national conversation should project into the long-term future instead of just focusing on things here and now or elections next year.
Some would say that 2030 is just around the corner.
2030 is just around the corner, but the scale of changes in a very fluid world. Take fourth industrial revolution, things that used to take 15 years to discover and implement. And nowadays they take just a year. And cell phones being such example that models are released every year. So 12 years might look far, but the scale of mega trends are moving at a pace, whether it's geopolitical changes, environmental changes. They need one to look at 12 years the same way we used to look at 30 years in the 80s.
And why specifically did you focus on issues such as social cohesion, the economy as well as inequality?
Social cohesion is one term in our search for many concepts that captures everything economic, social, political, psychological, which is stated in the preamble of our constitution in terms of what we aspire for, which features prominently in the liberation organizations and those who fought for changes in what they were aspiring for. That South Africa which is inclusive, which has social justice, where people have a meaningful role and participation in a society of that nature.
I also understand that you went around the country looking, or rather interviewing, a number of people from different backgrounds. What did you come up with from that research?
It's a whole range of things which we summarize in our report in 25 variables. Youth issues, employment issues, the economy, education, basic and higher education, issues of climate change and environmental issues, migration and struggle for resources, you name them. But what is key out of that were some of the surprises that came out. For example, we never thought seriously about the issue of human trafficking on a large scale. But people who are unemployed searching for jobs, said this was one of the big risks, because for them they are vulnerable, you'd understand. So that was quite a revelation. And also we deliberately and purposefully approached the unemployed youth to say, tell us something, because in the past we used to speak on their behalf, we used to think on their behalf. Now we wanted to give them narrative justice of being given a voice.
And I'm sure you came across a number of challenges when you also went on this initiative. Please take us through some of those challenges.
The first challenge was people understanding the scenario as a vision or a plan, to say, what will we be doing? And yet scenario give you different trajectories in the future, to say you could go this way if you are doing certain things or failing to do certain things. So the understanding of scenarios being a technical concept. Understanding of social cohesion. Other people had gone fed up. Social cohesion was just triggering that weak sense of reconciliation, which is overrated over social justice. And we had to explain that the social cohesion we're talking about include social justice, include economic and social issues.
And what happens if those scenarios actually don't happen? What are the plans around that?
Well, it is simply to alert the nation to say we could go down this way and the implications of going down that way, so that the society is energized, is activated to take steps to intervene. In fact, quest for social justice is not a spectator sport. It needs everybody to put their shoulder on the wagon.
And I'm sure you will be approaching government businesses with this report?
We already have been consulting them. So what is coming out is also including their input. We've approached scholars, we've approached people from the churches, the youth formations, political formations, government, business, so that when this product comes out, there is a sense of ownership and they can relate to it in their own various strategic plans.
That, of course, is Soma-doda Fikeni, who is one of the head researchers here for South Africa Scenario 2030. We also know that President Cyril Ramaphosa will be making his way here today, and he will be delivering the keynote address.
Thanks very much.